Guess what's back? Yeah, the Meat Wagon is back with us. The Meat Wagon's been out for a few weeks. It's sold some burgers. It's put some heat to the meat. But now, it's back with us because there's been a couple of problems. Not particularly serious problems, but a couple of problems that we need to iron out. And you know what? It was like a 2.5 year build. So much in this, so many complications, so many different things. If this went out and then never came back for anything, like, I'd be a genius or something. But as we all know, I'm not. So let's have a look. What has gone wrong with the Meat Wagon and what has gone right with the Meat Wagon? So then, one thing that went wrong with the Meat Wagon, we fitted those compressors in there. They were not up to the job. One of the compressors totally checked out and the other one was a bit sort of wobbly. So we've swapped them out. But because that happened, this happened. Oh, look at this. Yeah, big hole in it. I swear the wheel was grinding when the dude who owns it had to, like, you know, he had to get home. And yeah, it ground a big hole in there. So we're going to fix that. Probably going to extend the bump stop so this can't happen again. And also, we're going to swap that compressor for something a bit better. In fact, at the minute, we've got quite a large Via compressor in there. You know, that's got 100% duty cycle and everything. And hopefully that's going to sort it out. We're also, this van can run on its own. It can cook and do everything for 2.5 days. That's as long as the gas lasts. But the guy who owns it, he's realised that sometimes you have to stay on site for more than that time, and LPG is quite hard to get. So we're going to double the amount of gas this holds. We're going to fit a whole new gas tank underneath that. We're going to move the exhaust a little bit and get another tank in there. And we're going to be looking at a few bodywork problems. Like, it's got a couple of things that have cracked around the bumper. On the back bumper, because it sank down and then it just dragged and dragged and dragged. We got a crack here, and this is really scraped underneath. This car has been used as intended to scrape its ass on the ground, and there's a bit on the front bumper to do where it's grounded. And mainly, that's all the problems. Got one more problem inside. Let's take a look at that. Oh, come on in. So, inside the Meat Wagon, but this is one of the problems. We've got a little bit of separation here, and I think it's just because of the heat off of here. If you remembered, we swapped all this for stainless steel a while back when we first fired all this up, and we left it running for 9 hours, and this got too hot, so we changed that. So I'm going to make a shield that goes around there, covers all that up, and we'll just fit on, and that'll make that all good. A little bit in here. This piece of stainless needs sticking back up because it's flexed down, but that's no real problem. Other than that though, this has gone pretty good. You know, this has sold a lot of burgers. It was at the same place for like 3 weeks, every single day, just cranking out the meat. So, you know, not too bad really. I'm pretty pleased that it's gone as good as it has, because like I say, something like this, so technical as this, so many complications, so much detail, it's not just going to go out and never come back. I am not Toyota. Right, so that bit of the Meat Wagon already. Which way round does it go? It goes this way, and that is the curve of that bit in the Meat Wagon where it's split. Already cut this in some steel. I'll cut this into a strip, probably after I've welded it up actually. But I'll weld a strip along there, and then that is just going to pop over that. No trouble in the future. And that's it. It's basically another heat shield really. Painting some 2K, bit of 2K clear over it. It'll be fine in that kind of heat. Let's get cutting some metal and making this heat shield and just putting right, just like Sam Beckett, what once went wrong. I made this. You can think of how the inside of the truck goes. Then you're doing better than me. I've no idea. But anyway, I know this fits. I made all the templates and that. and I've got it tacked together there, and all I've got to do now, I'm going to seam all this up, and don't forget I'll be doing tack, 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 so I don't want it to go all wobbly and distorted. And then once that's done, I'll check it fits, trim this bit back, and it'll just make it into a nice thin trim. I've left all of this steel just as like a heat sink while I'm welding it, because make things big. If something's got to be like this, quite delicate, best to make it bigger, cut it down after, and then because this bit will just warp so badly. But once that's welded up, trim it back, paint it, and then job done. So this, all welded, well, nearly all welded. I'm just cooling it down a bit with a bit of the old water, because it's really, really hot, and I'm really impatient, and I've got to just wait, else it's going to go all twisted. But this is coming up pretty good. So I'll finish the welding, get it ground up, get it on the car. So then, next stage with that bit of trim, I welded it up, I sanded it down, flattened it out, bit of high build primer over it, and I painted it. And here it is, all sort of done and ready to fit. It looks pretty good, nice shine and stuff. Also on this, I don't know, is this a top tip? Probably not. But I might have fixed this piece of wood to it, so when I was painting it I could hold it in a vise. I didn't have to hold part of this, and I got to paint it all over. That's it. And then afterwards, of course, just pops off. Another tip from me. Anyway, let's see if this fits. I've genuinely not tried it yet, so let's get to the Meat Wagon. See if this drops on. I tried it before it was painting. I can't imagine that the paint's changed its shape that much, but you know what I mean, it's hot rodding. You never know. Let's have a look. So here it is. So we've got this big crack here from the heat that comes up here. But now we have, ta-da! Instant repair. And what I'll do, I'll screw that onto there, and then that is another job done. Let's have a look at some other repairs that I've done. I've added this piece of aluminium down this door shut, because also we had some issues there, just like up here. I think probably water's getting in, but I'm going to check that out, get on the roof and have a look, see if there's any leaks or anything. But this is all nice and tough now. Also, where we had the tyre wearing through, I've done this. Now, of course, it's all fiberglass, so I can't weld to it, but let's take this off, actually. I've put this through the arch overnight, and I've glued this on. If I can get this off now. Dun, 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 dun. Talk amongst yourselves, you know. Some weather we've been having, isn't it? Oh my god, that is so stuffed. Well, harder than I thought it was going to be. So I bonded that underneath. Now, I could have just glassed this, but I'm thinking, if ever, we're going to fit a higher bump stop, so it's never going to happen. But if ever the wheel did happen to rub there again, it'd rub on the aluminium. So it's harder to rub through a piece of alley than it is a piece of fiberglass. So we've got a piece of alley in there, and then I'll fiberglass this and then fill it. But we can see, look, some of this hasn't quite dried yet, so I'll leave that. Should be dry soon. It's an incredibly hot day for once. Let's have a look at the back bumper. You may notice actually I was left alone without the camera, so quite a lot got done. So apologies that I didn't show any of this. Now on the back bumper just here, of course, don't forget this van literally can scrape the road. Like when I build low, I build scrapey low, not just like 4 inch off the ground low. This can scrape the back, and it's been scraping the back because we had the compressor problem. So that's why that hole's there. And we had a crack in the lower part of this where this panel had been shoving up, and it cracked part of the fiberglass. Now what I've done here is I've not just covered it with a bit of black silicone. I've actually ground out about 20 mil deep there, and then I filled it with the silicone, so that should give that a little bit of give in the future. I think what was happening was that just the scratch plate was just banging against the fiberglass, and that caused a problem. But yeah, we've got that in there now, so that should be good. And of course, I've done the other side. Okay then, so gas capacity, that's what it's all about. We're gonna make double the capacity of the gas that the Meat Wagon can carry. So like, it can cook meat, it will be able to cook meat for 5 days straight. Oh, so much meat. Anyway, we've got to make room first. So underneath the Meat Wagon, like just here used to be the big silencer box that was on the taxi. So we've took that out because you don't really need a silencer. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim back this body mount that is sort of redundant now. We're going to trim that back and get the tank into here. And we have, from the good people at the LPG shop, we've got this tank mount that we should be able to just mount up in there and strap the tank to. You know, last time I just bought a tank off of the internet, and then we just sort of made it work. We made some straps and stuff like that. But this time we've gone to a way better place, and they've given us this as well. So this is going to save us a lot of time, and hopefully we'll just be able to weld that in, tank on, job done, and then a bit of piping, you know. And then we've doubled the capacity of the Meat Wagon's gas supply. So we've cleaned up some of this. We have had to modify the cradle that the gas tank sits in tiny bit, just to clear a few bits up here, but we're ready to tack this into place, and then we're going to plate along the bottom of the chassis, and that's going to hold it in, and it's going to be super strong, and there's just going to be basically, there's going to be a lot more heat to the meat. Let's get welding. So it's all welded up now, and it's looking pretty strong, and we've put a bit of paint on it just so none of those welds rust, and now we're going to get the tank into place, fingers crossed. One thing we've got to do here, we've got to just cut a bit of this thread off. We can't quite tighten this strap up. So now we've got the knot on, we can lock that off, pull that up, and this will be nice and tight. That is in and done. Now there's all this like complicated stuff inside it. And what Lee's going to do is now plumb this over to this tank, and then the two tanks, they'll basically become one tank. In the meantime though, to get this in, we cut the exhaust and we cut it from here and unbolted it from here. So what I've got to do now is get the exhaust back into position and try and fit it back up to that. It's only a bit of exhaust pipe, so really, how hard can it be? We've got the tank in and it's piped up. When we turn this tank on as well, we could hear the gas coming through one to the other, so they really are linked and working as one now. Obviously as well, like we've done this, we're still going to have the gas safety man round just to check that this is okay, because it's in a vehicle, you know, gas sinks to the floor and can explode and stuff, so it's all very dangerous. But yeah, we're going to get this checked and have the certificate updated for that as well. Other things we've done though, so we've now got the exhaust back on, and what we've actually done to make space for this, took the big silencer out from here, but we've still got the catalytic converter, and to be honest, the cat on these, that quietens it down, you know, enough. Doesn't really, we don't really need that. It'll just be a bit more, that's just cool. So we've done that, and the good thing about the exhaust is we've got it all below this scrub line here. So, you know, don't matter even when it's flat down, this is never gonna catch in the road, because it will always hit all of this stuff first. I don't know if we can see up here, we've extended the bump stops on this, because when the compressor packed up, it was literally undrivable, and that is why we ended up on this side, bonded this aluminium plate in, because it made the big hole in the fender. Not that it is going to happen again, because we've beefed up the compressor, all the relays and everything, so we'll have no more problems. It's come back, we've done a few things, but I've got to say, if this was my car, I would never finish it and then just expect it to all work just straight off. I am not Toyota, I'm a man in a shed. It's a difficult thing to get reliability on stuff like this, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, not too bad. A couple of bits there. It's basically air ride. Air ride always goes wrong in it, it's rubbish. But we're going to get it perfect, and I'm pretty pleased with how it's gone. Anyway, that is it for another week. Join us next time when we'll be doing more on that 60s truck, more stuff generally, and it's going to be awesome. So, don't forget, click subscribe, do all of those things. I thank you very much, and good night.